What is happening? This has never happened. Oh my God. You like pull me aside. The most intense eye contact. You're like, Andrew, you need to find out the gender. And I was like, give us a little background. How'd you guys meet?
Oh, man.
Seriously?
You're lying. You're literally lying. You're freaking lying to it, dude. I was like, all right, we got Jessie and Eric here with us. Thank you. I feel like, well, one, I interviewed you a couple years ago. One of my most enjoyable conversations I've ever had. And then you just kind of went dark. And then you'll just booty call me at 11 p.m.
Did you like that?
FaceTime me. I'm like, I literally rolled in bed. I go to bed at like 8:30. I was like, freaking Eric is FaceTiming me, and I did not pick up. So some apologies for that.
But John sent a selfie, and it was your brother John.
Very
attractive.
It was
Very attractive.
so confusing. Anyway, but here we are.
We brought you up, and then I forgot what we were talking about. And he's like, I need to send him a selfie. So that's how it transpired.
So John, we saw you guys at Stagecoach. John was there.
Gosh.
I
Yeah.
laughed harder that night. I also got so intimidated by you that night, Jessie. We'll
Really?
touch on that. So were you? She wasn't
No,
pregnant.
I was pregnant.
Shawn was pregnant.
I was pregnant with Drew.
And Jessie comes up to me. She grabs me.
When you
She's
say
like,
John, you say my brother was there?
Yeah.
yeah, he was there. And he was acting like he served in the army. He was
It was
making
back
me.
in 2019.
Okay, so it was the year I performed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've only been once. Okay, that's right.
We
Was
ran
Shawn
into
there?
you guys
Was
at
my
the,
brother there?
Yeah, he
And
was
his
definitely
wife.
there.
John and Allie were there?
They were engaged or dating.
John was definitely there. I will never forget laughing on the
That's so
rooftop of the
funny.
Estee Lauder
Yeah,
makeup
and your mom
station.
was there.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember seeing her.
Mm-mm. Mom
No?
was not there.
Okay,
You're thinking of another time we were all
No,
together.
John was definitely
There's
there.
no way.
That was a
This was
stagecoach.
Stagecoach.
I remember that being that little building.
Maybe I didn't know he was
Yeah,
there.
it was like Estee Lauder. You know, you were all together.
So Shawn's pregnant,
Anyways.
and we were talking about the baby. We were like, we're not finding out the gender, and you like,
You're right. He was there. He was there.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, go ahead.
you like pull me aside. The most intense eye contact. You're like, Andrew, you need to find out the gender. You're not
Yeah.
doing her. You're doing her a disservice because I bonded with my baby as soon as I knew
Yeah.
the gender. And I was like,
Because
Shawn,
I
we
just got
gotta-
done telling
we
you a
gotta-
story that it was because of his preference that I
Oh,
decided
man.
I wasn't going to find out.
I was like,
And
yes,
you
ma'am.
were like, no, you have to know.
So what did you guys end up doing? Did you?
We didn't find out.
You didn't find out?
but
I will say-
I
Held
did
strong.
say, I did say that's your call now. So
I will say we didn't find out with Drew, and we found out with Jet. And I still to this day, one of my favorite moments ever was as soon as I had Drew, they handed her to Andrew, and Andrew got to tell me.
Oh
And
my
he's like,
gosh.
baby, we had a baby girl.
Oh.
And because I was convinced we were having a boy.
Yeah.
And I was shook. But it was really, that was special. But
It
I
is
did
a
That's a cool
preference.
moment.
It just depends. I think I like to know.
Yeah.
Like I'll get the blood sample at 10 weeks.
Oh, like 10
I'm
weeks?
that girl. Because I want to know instantly who's
Yeah.
in there, who's in
Yeah.
my body, and I want to start talking to them and like
Yeah.
really, yeah. But everyone's different.
did you name them as soon as you found the gender?
Yes,
Like,
I've always had all their names way before.
Really?
Even
And
before
they
we
kind
got
of
pregnant.
switched though. We had like some go-tos, and then
But I'm saying as soon as we were pregnant, we had their
yes,
names.
Yeah.
right. Like the first boy, well, I guess Vivi was gonna be Sophia.
Well, she wasn't totally gonna be. We always
And then
liked
we
the name,
flopped
and then
it.
we realized everyone
Yeah.
named their kid Sophia that year.
we had a few names though that we kind of went back and forth, and then he felt like, all right, this is the name.
Yeah. He wanted Vivian because he was worried that no one was going to be able to say Vivian. And they still can't say Vivian, but
They
whatever.
call her
Is it
Vivian still.
Vivian or is it Vivian?
It's Vivian.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like pronounced Vivian.
I'm
I
so
like
sorry. I actually did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Wow. I see it now that it's written, but
I will say that after I got pregnant with Jet and we found out at 20 weeks, it was different. Like having conversations with him and not just like, hey, baby, you know?
Well, because I
was
knew, because you know the name.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, being pregnant with Forrest, as soon as it was a boy, we always knew he was going to be Forrest if it wasn't
Oh.
what the girl name was going to be. So I would be like, little Forrest is spastic. He's going to be a wild one. I can feel it. I know it. And he is our wild one.
Yeah.
Wild
But I love
child.
bonding. Yeah. They come out.
give us a little background. How'd you guys meet?
Tell him, man.
Match.com.
Seriously?
Yeah,
You met on
Match.com?
Match.com.
It was the
like the week trial.
It was the week
First
trial.
week-
We both were
first
each
week
other's
trial.
week trial, and it was instant.
You are
And
lying.
then we both deactivated it.
It's crazy.
You guys are both
Like
weird.
on a whim, we just, I guess, same week decided to.
We both were tired of like the dating process. It was
You're lying. You're literally lying. You're freaking lying to me, dude. I was like,
Just kidding.
Okay. I was about to say what?
We're obligated. We have a match
A
endorsement.
match deal that we have to mention them in every
No, we met.
conversation.
So really, honestly, it's crazy because
Wait, do you actually? Oh my gosh.
No, it's farmers only.
I don't know what's happening right now.
I think we're very gullible.
I would say so.
Such honest, good people.
You are though, yeah.
You're blushing.
Oh, man,
You were deep
got
in
me.
it. You were like,
I was-
I got a lot of places to go with this. No, but I'll say, like, crazy about our relationship is that we were both in places that, like, we were going to be single for, like, a long time because she got out of a relationship that she was just ready to be single. I was in, like, a kind of a long-term up and down relationship. And then it was the lockout year, so I got to travel a bunch and thinking, like, wow, this is great. I get to travel, you know, just kind of do my own thing. And she was on the road
I was
touring.
done dating too. I was like, I'm done.
Done with
I
men.
need to like figure myself out. Like I need to get back to me. I'm lost here. I'm just going down a dark path. So I was like, this year is going to just be the year of Jessica and no men folk.
And then
Hold up. Your name's Jessica.
Yes.
I didn't know that either. What?
Jessie short for Jessica.
also,
I see that now.
the southern accent comes through and it gets me every time too.
Oh, really?
Just like you're
I don't think
it
I have
pops.
one.
It
It
pops
does,
when you're
yeah,
on stage or
Drunk
drunk
That too.
or
TBD.
nervous.
or nervous.
When I'm really nervous, it comes out. So when I'm on stage, I get nervous.
Okay.
And right
Or I'm a
now,
little drunk.
and right now, you're
No.
nervous.
I'm not nervous,
You're making
actually.
her nervous.
I'm not nervous at all, actually. But I think, I'm from the South, so I do have,
Yeah.
to people that are not from the South, they think I have an accent, but people in the South don't think I have an accent. If
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's fair.
We're getting off track here.
I
Let's
know.
get back
I
to it.
apologize.
Beaver.
Beaver. No, it's squirrel.
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 I've never heard beaver in my life.
You ever heard beaver? Well, that's actually a real story.
Beaver.
So let me tell you quickly while we're just distracted. I got a buddy who's got serious ADHD, and on his mirror in his bathroom it says, "Did you take your Ritalin this morning?" That was his like sign because he was so like ADHD. Well, we're driving down the road and we're having this like deep conversation. Out of nowhere, he goes, "Beaver." We're like, "What?" Like just randomly said beaver. So that's why I guess you guys say squirrel. I say beaver.
Okay.
It's a real life story.
Yes.
Back to our
How you
relationship.
met.
So I'm in Arizona training. This is the March time frame, and she's in
I'm living
Nashville,
in Nashville, yeah.
but traveling with tour and stuff. And I'm out with a buddy who's quarterback. We train together, and he's like, "We're in Scottsdale, so the scene's there." And so he's taking this girl out to dinner, and I'm with a couple other friends, and she's older. She's probably in her 30s. I was 23 at the time. And she's like, "Hey, I got a friend for you." I was like, "Great." At the time, I was kind of in the cougar phase a little bit. So, I'm like, all right, well, 30, that's perfect. You
Cougar phase, like you say that like everyone goes through a cougar phase.
can go through cougar phase.
Did you
It's
go through a
typical.
cougar phase?
I never. I guess not yet. Maybe.
I don't get the women that are into the younger men thing, by the way. I do not understand that at all. But that's another story.
Being
Like,
35, I don't either.
No.
get it.
Anyways,
I'd go like Clooney older and like
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. I'd go way older. All right, go ahead.
that's true. Well, listen. So she's got this friend, and I'm thinking she's in town. Well, it's Jess, and she introduced us via text, like, "Hey," and I've heard of Jess before because country music, or she's been on the radio in Minnesota a bunch, and I knew of her but not knew her. And so I Googled her. I was like, "Oh, she's beautiful, of course." And so I started messaging her, and we just went back and forth for probably 3.5 weeks. And like iChatting because you didn't have FaceTime then, so it was iChat and all the stuff, and we just kind of really connected. And I think it was super important for us because we had to like get to know each other, and it was more of an emotional connection.
We would have met. We would have probably slept together that night.
And that
Don't you
might
think?
have been it. Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to have any self-control if I'm being completely honest.
With a guy like that.
Yes. And that was not my
A girl
thing
like
back
that?
in the day. I was very like, you're going to respect me situation, but he's the hottest guy I've ever seen in my life. And I would have had zero self-control. I know it because I don't to this day have any self-control, even when I'm mad at him.
And I was 23 and looking to have fun. So obviously probably
But on my side, I'm like, on tour and I'm in Jacksonville for a show, and like I'm just so pissed off about I had like a bad date situation. That's when I had sworn off men. I was like, I'm done. And her name was Liana. She's a girlfriend of mine. And she had texted me and said, like, let me set you up with someone. Like, don't let this leave a bad taste in your mouth. Like, I know so many great, amazing guys. Let me set you up with someone. And she had texted me and said, I'm out to dinner. I'm hanging out with this guy, and he's got some friends with him. And there's this guy here that's like literally the hottest guy I've ever seen. And if I wasn't hanging out with his friend, I'd be trying to hang out with him. I was like, I'm done with men.
She was talking about Eric?
Yes.
So
She sends me a picture on our BlackBerry. She BBMs me a picture of Eric, and he's wearing blue jeans, a white T-shirt, and he's got his arms crossed and his legs kind of back on a chair, like looking at someone. And I was just like, I melted. Like I was like, this is the most beautiful man I've ever seen. I just thought he was just stunning. Wow. But I had a good feeling too. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you can give him my number. And this man was blowing. Are you texting someone right now?
No, I'm trying to put my phone do not disturb. Just keeps beeping. Sorry.
So he
Big
starts blowing me up like paragraphs. He's sending me lyrics of my songs. Oh God! I like this song, and I jam to a little bit of Boys in the Summer, like just saying all these things.
It wasn't the smoothest.
And I was like, oh my God, he's really hot, but he's coming on so strong.
Oh no,
it was a lot. And he would text me all the time. He would call me all the time. And at one point we realized throughout our relationship, like we'd been together 3 months, we had realized that he had never received an incoming call from me or a text message first.
Dang.
Because I would never text first and I would never call
pursuing.
First. Well, I've never been like, I don't chase, you know.
Played it well.
It was not playing. Well. I just don't chase. If you want me, you come get me.
I did.
He did.
You both got the bug bad, huh?
I came hard.
Dang.
So anyway, we to sum up the story, we started having a long distance relationship for about 3 months, and then I was planning on leaving my apartment, and my lease was up, and I was moving to LA with my best friend Jessica. Mm-hmm. My best friend Jessica was going through a divorce, and she got me a job, and my record deal was done. She got me a job doing makeup where she was doing makeup, so I was going to do that, work out there with some producers, try to figure out my next step. And she was like sending me videos of apartments. Like we were moving in together. And during this time, he's like, you're not doing that. Like I will lose you in LA. And I know it. Like move to Denver and live with me.
Oh,
after 3 months.
Guy making plays.
Well, because during this time, you got to realize like there's some guys pursuing her. And I was like, you know, season starts.
Don't say names and don't go there because this is. Like,
I'm not. It's going to be over. And I was like, you need to come to Denver. Like I'm wifing. I'm locking you down at that point, and like you're mine. Basically, putting my stamp.
And you were ready for that to get locked down.
I definitely had fallen for him at this point, and I was really excited about moving in with my best friend. We'd never been able to, because she was married, and this was going to be our first time to just like I love this girl, so we were going to have so much fun.
Trouble.
It was not going to be. It might have been a little trouble, but I was like, you know what? My heart is telling me to do this, even though this is really fast. Mm-hmm. And I have no business in Denver, Colorado. Like, I'm literally going to be living there for him and his career. But I just felt like, you know what? If I'm not happy on a personal, like, level in my heart, my career is not going to, I'm not going to enjoy my career anyway. So what's the point? I'm such a family person, and I know that part of me needs to feel, like, whole. And so I went with it, and I moved in, and my best friend was upset, but I introduced her to her husband 10 years later, and now they're happy living in Tampa. But yeah, that was that.
Wait, so how did that go? You moved in together 3.5 months in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You moved to a new place where you had
no friends, didn't know anyone. Would wait for him all day while he's at football practice.
Whack. We got engaged at a year, that 1 year. So I guess like 8 months later, 9 months, got engaged and just kind of
freaked everybody out.
Yep, yeah. Sure did.
How did Eric propose?
In Vegas. It was there for the ACM Awards.
The most romantic place on earth.
No, it makes sense. And he proposed to me. Yeah, it was actually.
Let me tell a story because I was actually really nervous. So it was our 1 year of being together. I thought it was very sentimental. So I'm in Denver. She's there already for some music stuff. I'm finishing up like the off-season program. I get the ring, I fly down, I like go tell the hotel manager, like, hey, I want to surprise my girlfriend. Can you bring this up on, like, can you store it for me first? Like, make sure it's safe.
The ring?
The ring, yeah.
Dang.
Oh my
I
gosh.
gave it to them. I know. Probably crazy thinking about now.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to surprise her. Like, we're going to order breakfast and have coffee because that was kind of our thing in the morning.
Pancakes and coffee.
And so, you know, the idea was to come up with a platter, and she opens it. Oh, wow. I'm on my knees proposing. Well, what happened was we ordered it, come up, nothing. I'm like, I'm asking, like, where's the ring? So I'm calling the guy. I'm like, hey, what happened? Like, I thought someone stole it at this point. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I had insurance on it yet.
Dang.
And so I'm kind of freaking out. And she sees me kind of pacing around. I'm like, you want some waters? Or you need anything else? And so I got a hold of him. He's like, oh, bring it up. And the guy's like, I got your waters. And he's winking at me. I'm like, I don't need the wink. I just need like the execution here. Just give me the ring because my heart's beating really fast. And it was like total awkward. Like, hey, Jess,
Didn't go as planned.
do you want to grab a water? You know, like trying to get her to go and like.
Tell me the guy was still in the room.
He wasn't in the room. No, but so she fumbled over there and found her way, I guess.
It
And
was like a suite, and it was like in the kitchen. So I went to like pull the top of the tray, and I saw the ring, and I was like, "What?" And I looked at it, and then I looked, and Eric was on his knee, and he was like, "Will you marry
very simple,
me?"
I think. Will you marry me?
It was really sweet. I mean,
Wow.
it didn't go as planned, but I didn't know what the plan was, so I don't know that it was messed up. I just, I was very surprised. So you definitely got me,
Wow.
It was a surprise.
but it was very, very exciting.
That's the most nervous I've ever been, bro.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
You planned it the same
Why
day.
do y'all get so nervous? You know we're going to say yes or you wouldn't be proposing.
It's like the gravity of realizing this is like once, you know?
Yeah.
And also it's like you're just thinking about, am I doing it right? Am I doing it big enough? Like, this is going to be something we talk about all the time. Like, what are I don't know.
Andrew planned his engagement, whatever, like the night before he did it
How do you do it?
in the middle of the Cubs fields.
That
Oh,
is
yes, I remember that.
romantic.
Is it romantic? I don't know.
Did you like it?
It was the last thing I expected. 'Cause-
That's perfect.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's so romantic.
I knew it was coming because like we had been talking about it, but you're just not like on a stage person. You always want things very intimate and quiet. So I never expected. I got pissed at him actually because I was throwing a first pitch, and he came walking out onto
I'm
the
nervous
field, and I was like,
thinking
"What are
about
you doing? You're not supposed to be out here." Like,
Like it's not allowed.
no.
Stupid.
I was so
an idiot,
mad.
bro. I was so dumb.
And
I
then
like
he
it,
like got
though.
down on my knee. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I didn't know I was going to be able to do it until literally like 2 hours before it happened. So I was like checking my phone all the time. Like, is this going down or not?
Because you had to ask.
Yeah, like the Wrigley Field people. Anyway, I also, when I bought the ring, it was like a month after I'd signed with the Chiefs. So I got like a signing bonus.
Yep.
I spent every dime of my signing bonus on the ring, and I didn't factor in taxes. So I had to pay for the ring, and I was like negative in my bank account. I was like, okay.
He wasn't
okay.
even.
Oh, shit.
He was like able to pay for dinner for a
my
while.
God.
That was-
Oh my
Oh,
god.
It was tight
it's so
there for a
sweet.
hot second.
That's love right
That is
there.
sweet.
I
That
know.
is love.
I know.
I
And
can't
it's
believe
beautiful.
you had signed a record deal, and by that time
Yeah.
you had some big songs out. You were gonna go do makeup.
Why were you going to do makeup?
What?
I mean, people think that musicians make money and you really don't.
Yeah.
If I think about it all the time, and some of the people that that are on the radio are having a hard time paying their car note. I can promise you that right now. People that have had #1 songs. You just don't make a lot of money in music.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I
Pay a lot of
had
people.
lost all my money. It was like done and I needed a job. I mean, I remember being on tour with Jonas Brothers and coming off the road and applying at Sephora at the Green Hills Mall because my card was declining. And it wasn't because I was like big spending. It's just you don't take into, obviously taxes come into play, but also 20% was going to manager, 15% was going to my agent, 5% was going to my business manager. What's left? You know what I mean? It's like you're not a millionaire at this point. You're not making even $500,000. Like you don't make that much money. It was I barely had enough to live, and all of it was being taken away, all these percentages, and my card was declining when I was trying to buy like green beans at the grocery store, and I'm crying because I can't afford it. Like it was not the easiest, but I was never too proud, and I always was trying to apply and get side jobs, and I did get side jobs in Nashville all the time. I remember dancing like for Carnival, like they had a thing and I got up and I had to be one of the dancer girls on a table for extra cash. Like I always was doing something, trying to figure it out.
Wow.
But yeah, she'd gotten me a job and I was going to be doing makeup. It was at a place called Blushington off of Sunset Boulevard. It's not there anymore, but she'd gotten me this job and like that was the plan, and I was going to try to get another record deal.
And part of it for her too was like she wanted to go the country route and like ended up kind of getting pigeonholed into the pop world. And so I think that transition for the label was part of probably like being disappointed, I guess, right? I mean, like you felt like you weren't being the country star at the time you wanted to be. You were like doing the Jonas Brothers and in the studio with hip hop artists. And
well, I never, my intention was never to do anything but country. But the only people that would sign me were pop people. And so they'd always promised me that I could do country on the pop label. But I always use the example. It's like going to Pizza Hut and asking for tacos. Like it's just, you know, everyone has their expertise. But anyway, it led me down this path and it led me to Eric.
You use the term dark path. I think it was when you were talking about your dating.
Yes.
But is it career or more dating? That was
it was
like
all
that
of
tough?
it. Like I remember it was like 2010 and 11 were just like not the best times. Like I just was lost. My record deal was failing. My music was just going downhill at this point. I was in a relationship for 3 years prior to that, and just like my heart was broken, and I was just like dating the wrong guys. My best friend and roommate at the time, Hallie, had moved to New York, and I just felt like so alone. I was just lost, and it was like literally it hit my rock bottom at this point. But
why were you dating the wrong guys? I'm curious. Like, how does that happen? You know what I'm saying? Shawn did the same thing.
Yeah.
Until he found me. It was
until I found you.
I think we all learn a little bit about ourselves. I think like who we are as children and then who we grow into becoming and what you're surrounded by. Like there's a psychology behind all of it, why you're attracted to who you're attracted to. And it's things that you love about yourself, things you don't love about yourself. Like you're trying to find that person, right? To that fits those needs that you have. And I don't know. I think there's definitely some consistency with the guys that I dated, but there was a little something about each one of them that I liked that I seemed to focus on rather than ignoring the rest. And I think ultimately the person you choose hopefully is your soulmate, but also is all those pieces that you liked about everyone combined into one. And I think, you know, I definitely dated some shady characters.
Chooches, as we say.
Some what? What is that?
Chooches.
Oh Andrew uses
I don't know. That's my new
term
favorite
chooch.
word. Chooch.
chooch?
Like
What's a chooch?
Like a D-bag.
I think it's actually Italian for chuchina. Can you look this up, Ro?
Can we get a Google
Chuchita?
search?
Chooch.
It's definitely slang.
Chuchita?
Sounds like you're saying gooch.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It's Italian for a stupid person or a meathead.
Yeah,
Wow.
chuchi.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna start using that.
Anyway,
Chooch.
yeah, you're
I like
welcome
that.
for that. You guys are so romantic.
We are?
Yeah, I think
Gosh,
so.
I don't feel like we are.
Do you feel like you're still the way you talk about like your initial feelings? It
Turning me on a
seems
little bit.
like you're still there.
What, with each other?
Yeah.
Intimacy.
No, for sure. I think that, I don't know. I think if it wasn't, like, listen, we're not perfect by any means. We like have normal marriage stuff like anybody else. But I think the thing that's important is our foundation was so strong. Like we just genuinely liked each other, like from the get-go. And I think there was no other reason other than we just liked spending time together and we just enjoyed each other's company and we want to do fun things together. And I think that has been so important even during the hardest times or the best times or the craziest times. You know, I think that's stayed with us throughout this whole thing, that we just want to be together. It's that simple.
And I say with that, you know, it's like to the foundation part, like we've committed our lives to each other, you know, and having a Christian foundation in a sense, like you commit to one another and you live this life. And I think intimacy is a big thing. There's all types of intimacy, like physical intimacy, obviously still very important, as is building the emotional intimacy and the recreational intimacy of what we get to do together as far as play and have fun. And so I think realizing, you know, those things and trying to balance it, because as you guys know as parents, like it's hard to like be selfish sometimes, or like focus on your relationship when you got the responsibilities of career, kids, this, everything, you know, that goes with it. It's like, but how it started is you two. And I think that's the realization that we have to carve out that time to give to each other. And like, you know, your needs are going to be different than her needs. And so how do you fill each other's buckets? And just being real with those conversations and adapting as you mature, I guess, you know, right, as people, we figure that out. And so I think that's what I say is the biggest thing, is committing to that in life. And just obviously we fundamentally love each other, and like we're super attracted to each other for reasons, but to
reasons.
Because you got like a nice butt and a great body and ambitious, like that's doesn't go away. But yeah, I agree with her. I think it's the foundation.
It's the foundation. It's what's in your heart. She's got a great ass.
That's how it gets deeper, guys. Obviously, I might be this Kachoosh, whatever meathead when I was 23, 24, but now you gotta, you know, grow up a little bit.
It's a hard CH at the end, not a swoosh. It's a chooch.
Oh, Kakooch?
No, Eric.
Chooch.
Chooch. I got stuff in my teeth again.
Again.
Andrew doesn't want to tell me.
Oh man, it's hilarious.
I don't know how to transition off of you like her butt, but
Great butt.
you said something that was attractive to you is ambition. Mm-hmm. Something that we wrote in our notes, because I find it fascinating, is you guys seem like very, very ambitious people, like constantly growing your businesses.
Y'all
and
do
you're
too.
on the road.
Yeah.
But how do you balance your ambition for each other, like supporting each other, going off in different directions and together, and being parents and being married?
I'm going to say this. This is me being totally honest. Mm-hmm. Eric has always been extremely supportive of my career and everything I do. And same when he played football, I really didn't work that much anymore, and I was always there for him. But I do think there has to come a balance. And like last year, I worked way too much, and that was hard. It was hard. Like when I went off to do Dancing with the Stars, that was the hardest for Eric, because
Long few months.
Because I was just like, and it was hard for me because I was just trying to focus, do the best that I can, and it did not come easy for me at all. And it was super stressful, and I think that, like, you know, it was definitely a learning lesson of like things need to be a little bit more balanced out and in a better way, because it was hard. It was really hard because we missed each other.
Mm-hmm. We did. And I think that was a realization, like we learned that last year, like, all right, maybe less is more in that sense sometimes. But also we've been able to, you know, make a priority that like our kids are in school from, you know, 8 to 3. That's our time to kind of grind. And then it's, you know, when we're home, we focus on trying to be present and be home with the kids. And that's our priority. And so obviously that's not the case every day, but it was like, hey, I got to do some stuff. Okay, great. I'll take the lead now, you know, or vice versa. And as she said, when I was playing football, she was kind of at home and took care of.
I was rolling up with the wagon at football practice in their little juice boxes, watching Dad.
Took care of that part. And as I retired and we kind of transitioned and she went more career oriented, I tried to do some more stuff at home. And now, you know, I've been in this transition of trying to figure out what's next for me. And obviously helping build the brand at Kittenish and a few other things on the side I do. But like we've been able to find that balance. And I think, but day to day, the important thing is like at the end, like our kids want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be loved.
Our kids come first.
And so we give them that priority. That's our priority. And then otherwise, the time we get, we try to, you know, knock it out, as I'm sure you guys the same way.
How supporting each other in like both your careers, how was it for you, both of you, honestly, when you did decide to leave the NFL and like go through that transition? Because losing the identity of athlete is very challenging.
Oh, I cried. I cried for him.
Why?
Well,
because I that's all I like when I met Eric, he was a rookie. So like I knew Eric, and not necessarily because of the glitz and glamour of NFL. It wasn't that at all. This is what he did. This was his job, and it was my job to support him and make those posters for him when the season starts and the care packages, and make sure I'm there in that tunnel telling him what a great job he did, or paying attention to the game so I can critique and give him, like, that was my job. And that also, I knew how much he loved the game, and I cried because of all the emotions of is he really making the right decision? I'm worried about him. Our lives are changed now completely. And this is an end of an era. And so it was very emotional. I loved it. I loved watching him play.
Yeah, it was a transition for sure. And I think
You're still transitioning.
Yeah.
I am, yeah, for sure.
It takes a long time.
I still am.
They say like 4+ years.
And so like at the end of my career, I had injuries, and I think it just took a toll.
That's how we met,
Yeah,
on the rehab table.
we did. Yep.
Wow.
At Empower. Yeah,
I didn't have a leg, you didn't have a shoulder. Yeah.
exactly. Or hip at that point. And like, so, you know, building yourself back up and then getting out there and then getting hurt again. So my last year in Tennessee, I had like the worst ankle injury. And it's just like the psyche of dealing with injuries and just like, is this really worth it? You know, and that was the thought going into that off season. And I ended up going to New England for a couple of weeks. And like the first day I got there, I was like, I'm done. Like, and I called Jess, I called my agent. They're like, just give it a week. And then the week later, I was like, I'll give it one more week. I'm like, no, like I am out. Like my mind is out. Like I'm physically there, but I'm not there, like invested. And so at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be good. And so I retired. I get home. 6 months goes by. It's like, oh, this is awesome. I get to be with the kids. I get to do whatever I want.
We just had a baby too.
No responsibilities, no one to answer to. And then it's, 9 months later, it's like busy work, trying to find something. And a year later, it's like, all right, I need to do something. And at that point, going through like these depressional, pitfalls in a sense. And it's like, things are good. Okay, who am I? Because my value was obviously tied to football. And just trying to figure out and navigate through that path, it was hard. And obviously got some like resources and put some guys, peers around me to try to figure it out. And it's been so tremendous to kind of take this journey now because I've been through it. And I feel that it is real. And I think a lot of guys and girls go through it. And so being a spokesperson in a sense, or to be able to talk about my own experience and normalize, I guess, that with around mental health and around just the transition in general is super important because like I've been through it. I've walked it.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp is a trusted brand that has been in our life for several years.
If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know we're big fans of using therapy to strengthen our relationship as well as ourselves individually.
Being a wife and a mom, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and not take a few minutes to focus on yourself. But if I don't take that time, I can feel so burnt out and stretched thin. It's so nice having an outlet to talk to a professional, and therapy helps you learn the tools to have more balance in your life so you can show up for your family as the best version of yourself.
You've been doing a good job at that, babe. I appreciate that. And I agree with what you're saying. And if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, we highly recommend BetterHelp. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online.
All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with the licensed therapist. And you can also switch therapists anytime for no additional charge to make sure it's a right fit for you.
If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can help you get there. Visit BetterHelp.com/EastFam today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/EastFam. We'll also link it down below. Let's get back to it. Yeah, that's it's hard because the infrastructure, like when you're doing sports, you have a coach who's like, game planning for you, like, hey, we need to do this in 3 months, and they have your daily calendar and agenda laid out, and you got, there's like this whole system that you're a part of, and then you walk away from that, you're like, I actually don't know, what do I do with my time? What am I working towards anything now? It's just like empty.
I relate to you though about being sad and scared. I was terrified because for you, because I didn't know where your energy and passion would go. And a lot of people get changed forever by that. And like as a wife, you're like, okay,
you're getting a new person now.
Yes. And you don't know how it's going to be channeled.
No, you honestly, they become someone else now because they're not that person anymore. So you don't know how that's going to go.
My first time because I was on the road when he first got cut, but my first glimpse at what life would look like after I just think it's funny. He's got an MBA from Vanderbilt. I come home off the road because I was touring post-Olympics, and he had just applied to be an Uber driver, and he had been binging PUBG, like
Video games.
video games, and I was like, oh no.
You have something in my teeth for real?
You really do. I've
Which
been
one?
just
He
looking
has
at
something
it
in
this
his
whole
teeth?
time. It's
What is it? Sorry to cut you off.
got a quinoa right in the middle of your tooth.
Yeah, you do.
It's been there this whole time.
Good thing the East provide
I
floss at the studio.
Maybe the top right one
We're
too.
just getting to the heartfelt portion.
I
of
was
the
just
show.
gonna give him the obvious
you.
spot, not tell him.
I don't
about the
see
others.
anything. I can't
It's
see it
right
from
there.
here.
Come here.
What is happening? This has never happened. Oh my gosh. Oh,
This is
man.
That was you
He's got
provide
stuff in
lunch
his teeth
before our-
Yeah.
every day.
Our
I
podcast.
thought that was like a low key
So does
like
he.
look where it's like, hey, we're done with it. We're done. This is
No,
not gonna-
I'm
I
looking
don't
at
wanna
him
be here
like
anymore.
I can't stare at it any longer.
Yeah.
You take what you're saying seriously.
I couldn't see it.
Am I good?
I think you look
You're-
great.
It
Yeah.
looks good.
The hottest guy I've ever seen. For
Anywho, so Uber, you're an Uber driver,
I came
and you're
home and-
back to
binge.
the heartfelt.
Binge in.
He was doing
Nintendo
video
games.
games and signing up for Uber.
You
And I
remember
was
the
like,
backpack?
oh no.
The backpack that I
And
had
you
made?
tried to start a backpack company.
Oh, dude,
and
I
I
got
was
the
like,
mock-up
oh
for
no.
I got the mock.
Dude, I got
What's your sign?
When's your birthday?
Virgo.
I don't know.
September
September what?
17th.
Yeah, you're a Virgo. And what are you?
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
What are you?
Okay, I'm an Aries.
I don't. And what are you? I don't.
Pisces.
It's my birthday next week, guys.
It is
Happy
Hey.
birthday.
March
Thanks.
15th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, 6 days actually.
What does that tell you?
Who's counting?
Yeah, why are you
I'm a
making fun of
Capricorn.
me?
He's a
Do you ever
Virgo.
have knee issues or anything like that?
Oh, yep. Yes.
Yeah, she's all.
All the time.
Capricorns carry their stress in their knees and they're prone to those accidents
Oh,
in
well,
knees. And
that's-
Pisces rule the feet. So he's broken his foot. Liz Frank, the whole thing.
Wow.
But like it just yeah.
What about Aries?
Neck and head. I always have neck and head issues. I have to get
Virgo?
like physical therapy.
You know
once a
Virgo?
week. Virgo, that one I haven't studied as much. I know the signs, a lot of the people that I'm around, but our son is a Virgo. And Virgos, which is interesting that you tell me you're messy downstairs, because Virgos are actually quite organized and OCD and very particular about things. So I'm curious to know what your rising sign is, if that's not accurate.
I mean, I would say I'm definitely organizing.
You are.
Virgo's
And
got
the
some,
things that
they
you
got
wear.
some ticks, and they're like very detail oriented, but sometimes they have a really hard time seeing the bigger picture.
See Andrew have some ticks.
Like,
He
do you
does.
know what I'm saying? Like you may sit in this room and you could see the details, but overall, she may be the person that could stand above this room, being like, "I see what you're saying, but this is not the whole thing."
Actually, yeah, we're a pretty
Yeah.
good team that way.
Lexi's like, yeah.
So you see the big picture for sure. Sean,
Yes.
but you're
I'm very
The
type A.
visionary, the executor.
Yeah,
Yes.
how it
It's
goes.
the same way.
Yes.
You're the executor.
The executor.
I got the big dreams. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
He does it.
Yeah.
He's like, you're so good at like the delegation.
Can I tell a story? Well,
What?
Vertigo? No, not vertigo. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Do you ever get car
Intestines.
sick or nauseous?
I feel like I need to go diarrhea right now. Does that
Really?
count? I'm kidding. I'm just.
I was wondering what that smell was.
Do you get nauseous ever though?
It's a bit
Car
pungent.
sick, anything like that?
Yeah, car sick for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of Virgos do get car sick, and they do have like they don't process alcohol as well as other people.
I'm a lightweight
He's
for
a
sure.
massive lightweight.
Can't wait for this charity event. We're gonna have a good time.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gonna be a good time. Okay, you were gonna say something though.
Are you in the Enneagram too, or no?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I'm an
big
8.
time.
Really? You're in
8
the-
What's
wing
8?
7. The challenger.
Challenger.
Oh.
What are you?
Oh, we get
Achiever.
Yeah, and
You're the
I'm
achiever.
a what's one?
You're a 1 like a perfectionist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a 2. You're
I'm a 2, wing 1, but when I'm like good, 2, wing 3.
Wow. When you're good.
Like individualistic is
When are you
3, I
bad?
think. I'm just saying like in a mental state. Like
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah.
I'm a perfectionist
isn't
by nature, which can be like
but is,
obviously.
is 7 the achiever too?
uh
What's 7? The enthusiast.
yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is
It was-
what would you say is your guys' like challenge? Like-
Together.
Yeah. For Andrew and I am a perfectionist and I expect perfection from myself, from us, from our marriage, our parenting style. And that just doesn't do well for anybody.
Thank you for admitting that, babe. I'm glad. I'm thankful for the self-awareness right now.
Yes, yes.
that's big.
I'll speak on our if you let me.
Yeah.
I would say I think our biggest challenge is I am a very like YOLO person. I'm like, I want to enjoy life. I want to have fun. I want us to like we don't know what tomorrow holds. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't know what tomorrow holds. So let's enjoy our blessings and what we got. And let's wake up and just like with a smile on our face and just be happy that we live this amazing life. We have healthy children. We have like, let's just enjoy it. And I think for me, Eric gets sometimes he can be a little controlling in the way that he needs to have control over everything. And I may want to go like, let's get on a plane to Italy tomorrow. And it'll be so much fun.
Similar to
and
us.
let's go have some gelato and let's like take the kids to this one beach where it's pink and it'll be the greatest memories. And
They got pink beaches?
They do.
What?
Yes. And I'm like, this will be so much fun. And Eric's like, it's too expensive. We can't. The kids got school on that day, and it's like, so he kind of buzz kills me a little bit. But I understand you need both. Or like, okay, for example, we went to Italy, okay, and we made this wine together. We made this wine in 2021, and we made it with this Italian guy. He didn't speak a lick of English, and it was so much fun. And we had to like sip up the wine and do all these weird things to taste it. We made this amazing wine, and we got to create the label, and it finally came in. And we've been waiting for this. And I have downed 3 bottles since we've gotten it in.
Yeah.
And me and my mom are having it like a few nights ago at the house. And he's like, is that the wine? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you know that we don't have that many left downstairs. We only got a small case. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm enjoying it.
Can you please save one? Because I want to like have some at some point.
There's plenty downstairs. But, you know, he's like, I don't know. So for me, I'm like, but that's why we ordered it, to enjoy it. And it's amazing. And there could be, you know, our basement could collapse and then it all goes to hell. Like, let me enjoy this wine that we've been waiting for because it's delicious. And it's amazing. And my mom and I are having great, deep conversation, enjoying this wine. And you are telling me to stop. And my mom's like, do we pour it back in the bottle?
No.
She's like, do we put a cork in it? She's like, do you have a thing we can just put it back in? And I'm like, no. But, you know.
I mentioned that. I do admit that for sure there's.
Controlling sometimes.
And again, that falls into like, I think I thrive in like structure. And when I feel out of control, I try to control things. You know, if I'm not in control of my emotions and myself, I try to control or dictate my surroundings, which obviously isn't the best
And
thing.
I'm a wild woman in his eyes. So for him, I can get a little too loose cannon for him that he feels like he's got to like reel me back in.
But I also love the spontaneity that you like bring. That was something that was very attractive because I've always been very rigid and everything's like I said, super structured. And she's just this spontaneous, like full life person. I was like, wow, this is really like infectious, I guess, you know? So that's what was super attractive. But
I'm definitely more free spirited in that way.
I think, you know, and I'm getting better and working at it, but just like allowing things just to happen. And that's just being real. And I think that comes with, again, part of the retiring and being in this phase of my life of figuring out, okay, like what is my value or what am I tied to? Like, how do I, you know, control my nervous system in the sense of my emotions and how do I communicate it properly even to that matter? There's a lot of things that like sports, I feel like they don't really provide self-care on like those type of things. And I didn't really have that growing up either. So all of a sudden now I'm in this space where I have a lot of time and a lot of like thoughts. And it's like, all right, how do you take that energy and make it, you know, a healthy, healthy way?
Like channel
it.
It seems like you guys are kind of similar and we're kind of similar. But what's cool, there used to be a lot of tension around that for me where it's like, gosh, she just needs to chill out, right? Like,
let's have fun.
Exactly. But
I also
feel
have
like
that tendency. I am way more on your side of like.
Well, when it comes to like spending money, you're like, woo, yeah.
But it's the whole thing of like, you've worked so hard.
Like,
Why
honestly,
not?
I know. I came from nothing growing up. And so
Yes.
for me, I'm like, I know what it's like to not have anything and to watch my mom not be able to pay for dinner tonight and we're at McDonald's. So like, I know what it's like and I've worked my butt off and I feel like I'm going to enjoy the blessings that I have. and not save them for our great grandchildren like he wants to.
Now listen,
like he wants to.
let me make it clear.
Is that-
We do a lot of fun stuff. Like every time our business manager's like, "You guys doing another vacation this week?" Because we do travel a good amount. Like
Because I want to show our kids the world.
We're very blessed. So it's not like I'm this like dictator. Like, no, you can't do nothing. But
No,
I'm
but
saying
it
that I
comes down to
challenge.
like, why are you trying to save for
What are we
10
saving
generations
it
to
for?
come
Okay, so
when
Well, they need to figure it out.
there used to be a lot of tension around this, but I've realized like in order to have a functioning organization that's sustainable in this scenario of family or marriage, it's good to have both. Both are necessary. Like, hey, maybe we should increase our budget a little in this area, but also we need to make sure we're on a budget and like stay in anyway. So
Yep.
we're similar in that sense, but
I will never, this is just getting on a tangent. I'll never forget one time we got into a conversation of budgeting and he had like calculated a budget for us, like a monthly budget.
Love
And I was like, babe, that doesn't cover our mortgage.
no. I
That
also,
literally doesn't
tried,
cover the mortgage.
I also tried to one time go Dave Ramsey and say
Oh
we're
my
getting rid of
gosh.
all our credit cards. So it was a
I
train wreck,
lost
dude. It was
I
it
was
was
like-
hilarious.
Dave Ramsey get rid of credit cards?
He's a no
Yes.
debt kind of guy.
So, never mind.
What?
Never mind.
It's not even worth it.
But I do love that in a sense. Like I put this spreadsheet together for her. So she's like, I don't care. I really don't care.
I don't care.
That's why, like, all right.
That's not the way I like to see things from business managers.
Same.
The way I like to see is how much have I brought in this month?
Yeah.
You know, what have I done this month? And, you know, what did I pay out? And like, you know.
Yeah.
Looking at the top line, not the bottom. And I want to tell a story because one of the most recent times we saw Eric was when Jessie, you were on Dance with the Stars. We were waiting in the line out back. This is what I'm saying. You
Was
guys,
this the night I got kicked off?
no,
No,
we
no,
went to
it was a premiere.
yeah,
We
the
watched
premiere.
videos of you all last night, by the way. Vivi is like she's obsessed, not to interrupt your story, but back just Dance with the Stars, I have to
Yeah.
say this. Vivi's like the biggest Dancing with the Stars fanatic in the world. She's a
Aw.
super fan. I'm talking
Okay.
super fan. And she loves all the seasons, but she did not understand. She keeps watching this past season
Yeah.
over and over again,
Yeah.
every episode. And I was like, baby, you know that there were other seasons.
Yeah.
And she's like, but they're not on Disney Plus. And I was like, I know.
Oh, funny.
And so
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, go to YouTube and see what pops up. And you popped up and she watched every single one of your dances. You were incredible.
Thank you.
So when I tell you, I
Crushed it.
like live under
Thank
a
you.
rock sometimes. I don't know all these things. And it's just because I don't know what's going on.
Long
But I did
time
not
ago.
realize what a badass you were. And
Thank you.
you should have won. Did you win? You didn't win.
I won with Mark.
She was on twice.
We
You were
came
on twice.
Yeah.
So I
All
wasn't.
stars,
Vivi was
or-
trying to explain it to me, but Vivi was like, "I can't believe she didn't win." I'm like,
Yeah.
"I thought she did win." So I
We
was
should have won.
confused.
Derek was unbelievable that season and his creativity and what he created. For Derek's reason, like Derek should have won. I was so sad
so
that
she
didn't.
won with Mark in season 8.
Yeah, I
and
came in
they had an
second.
all-star
Thank you.
season.
It was fun.
They had an all-star season, brought her back.
Yeah. Don't watch
4
the
years
Mark
later?
Dallas one.
Why?
No, it's very good. I love Mark to death, and we had fun. But I was awkward, and I was 16, and I was just like,
So that was
Little-
the first
Baby.
season.
yeah, I was an infant
So
child.
you won that season with
I did.
Mark.
I won with Mark, and I came in second with Derek.
Okay.
Yeah, during the All-Star season.
Well, you were incredible. I was
Thank you.
watching, and I'm like, because I know what it's like now to
Yeah.
be there and like what it feels like and the pressure. And I'm just
You
like,
did a
you look
very
like a
good job.
professional out there.
Thank you.
I mean, you
I got
I
shoved
couldn't
around the floor.
decide which one was when y'all were all out there doing one of the ensembles. I'm like, she looks like one of the professionals.
During the premiere, we need to get back to yours. But during the premiere, I was so nervous watching you. I was so excited to watch. I was freaking out. You did a phenomenal job.
I was excited on the premiere, and as soon as we were done with the Sweet Home Alabama dance, I was
Yes.
like, "We did it!" And then all of a sudden, wah wah wah, the judges all were like, "You suck." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I actually
Also,
thought we
I
did
will say the
good.
judges were unfairly brutal
They
to
were
you.
brutal.
I have no idea why. I still have so many questions.
Brutal. Also,
you have
the
fun?
gold was incredible. I died. Your whole
hated
gold
They
body
hated
thing?
that too.
It was incredible.
Did you have fun?
I don't know. Let's get back to your story.
Okay, so it's the premiere, and we're standing outside waiting for our tickets or entry, whatever. And Eric's standing there with, a bouquet of flowers. And it's like this is what I'm saying. Like, there's something. You guys are interesting because you have you're a professional football player, and you have the music, and there's an edge to your brand. You guys are all but there's like this tenderness that's like very apparent. And I was just, I have a lot to learn from you. And I was like, dang, I actually think I bought flowers for Shawn the next day because I was like, I need to do more of that. So I just
love
respect
that
how you go
story.
about.
Well, appreciate it.
marriage,
We
yeah.
need to bounce ideas off each other because I use some advice myself. That's what we're here for, baby.
That's right. That's right.
No, it's awesome. I think what's great too is like, and you guys are in the same situation. It's like you have, prolific careers or bios in a sense, and people know who you are, and obviously.
No one's ever described my NFL career as prolific, but thank you. Thank you.
Well, I would
You understand
say
the percentage,
1% to
people
get
that
there.
even get to
You
that.
made it.
That's what I try telling him all the
time.
That's massive.
Exactly.
Think about the people that talk about their high school glory days. I mean, like you made it to the NFL. That's massive.
Are we friends now, guys?
I'm just saying
we
that's.
just become best friends.
But I'm just saying that's massive.
It is
That's such a low percent of the world that ever gets to even get to that place.
I agree, and I think it's taken me some time to realize that as well. But what I love though, what I was trying to say is like, especially being in Nashville, I feel like those things are okay. You do them, cool, but like it's the community of like being just regular people, and that's kind of what
It's a safe bubble here, isn't it?
I love it here.
try to
Nobody
give to our
cares.
kids is like
Awesome.
the quote unquote normalcy now of like, all right, you go to school, you got your friends, you do your activities, like you live in a sense of just like a regular life that we call it, but like everyone, will put you on a pedestal because of, your name and what you did and who you are. But like,
And not interrupt you, but do you not feel like when you leave Nashville and you get on a plane and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot.
Uh-huh.
This happens all the time because you and I could go to the Green Hills, like a Whole Foods
Yes.
right now, and nobody cares.
Nobody.
They don't care.
Yeah.
But if you and I had to get on a plane and we're walking around,
LA or
no, not even LA, like any other state or
Yes.
city, and people start coming up, there's always the moment of going, I forget.
It's humbling in
It's-
Nashville. You
You can't
are
call and be
humbled,
like,
which is
hey, I
amazing.
want a table for 7:30. They're like, good. Everybody else does too. Too bad. We're booked. Like,
Yeah.
they don't care.
No.
And I love it.
Same. I love that too.
But what you're saying.
so. With all that said, yeah, I guess no, it's like we're normal people, right? I think that's what
Yeah.
we want to.
That's what I'm trying to bounce off of.
Exactly. What we want to provide to our kids and just like how we want to live our life. Like we got to do some really special things and are going to keep doing special things in our life. We got a cool project we're working on. But but I think it's just like, we just want to be normal folk. And that's what I love is that how she grew up and how I grew up, like, we meshed that. And I think there's a lot of similarities and a lot of values that we take from our upbringings and instill them in our kids and how we raise them. And so that's super important to never lose sight of that, never lose sight of like, what this life is like, especially like I say in Nashville, it provides what we want.
All right. Of all the things that you've done, and you can answer first. What are you most proud of?
What do you mean?
Anything. Interpret it as you want.
You could say, hey, I won this award, or playing in this game was big for me, or this
Oh,
concert.
you mean
or
career-wise? Or just all
In
of it?
life,
Because in my mind, immediately went to, like, having babies.
Okay.
Like,
Motherhood.
immediately was, like, becoming a mom.
That's
But I don't know if you meant personal or if you mean
yeah,
career.
that plays. That's insightful.
I will say it's
Immediate.
I don't feel like I've like gotten to know you over the course of like a long time, but that was my first impression of you as Stagecoach, was the way you spoke about your babies. I had so much respect for you.
Well,
Like, she's a mama.
they're
Great mommy.
everything. They really are.
But it's rare to hear, which is
I guess,
sad.
but I don't understand why it is.
Yeah.
Like, why have kids if you're not going to mother them? Like, what,
well, that's something I love about Jess too, is for how ambitious she is and everything that she, puts her hands in, like coming home, being with the kids, cooking a meal, having like that bedtime is like so important. I guess the family life is so important. And in like, I guess the culture that we live in, sometimes it's easier to find someone to help do things for you. And luckily we have our family in town, but
I don't know if I would say easier. Like,
well, I'm saying people have kids, but then they have someone else raise them in a sense.
well,
But it's-
that would give me anxiety. But I think going back to your question earlier, if I enjoy Dancing with the Stars, I think that I had a hard time enjoying Dancing with the Stars, not because of Dancing with the Stars, but because I like exhausted myself. I killed myself because of, you know, trying to do both and give it my absolute best. As soon as Dancing with the Stars was over Monday nights, I was getting on a red eye and flying all night long so I could wake up with the kids and then be with the kids and then be exhausted and dead from the red eye. You know how it takes forever to recover from that. And then going to rehearsals. And then as soon as rehearsal's over, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I got to go. I got to pick Vivi up from gymnastics and I got to make dinner tonight. And that, like, it just never stopped. And then I'm leaving, you know, at Saturday morning on that 6 a.m. flight to get so I could do the blocking, camera blocking. And then, I mean, it was just like for 7 weeks I did that and I just ran myself to the ground. And I think I did not totally allow myself to enjoy it because I was just so worried about the kids all the time and stressed and like that was my main focus. And I remember Alan, you know, who I adore and he's like a brother to me, but he's, you know, he knew that I was struggling with it. He's like, this is hard because of the travel. Like if you were here and you just would have stayed here, it wouldn't be so hard on your body.
Different.
But like he was riding with me to gymnastics to pick up Vivian every single day. I mean, it was just a lot. He saw it. He knew. But I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
What's your advice for Vivi?
Oh gosh.
I need to know.
It's probably not.
Give me good advice.
I know. I know.
For those listening, Jessie and Eric have a daughter who's big time into gymnastics.
Good.
From everything,
really good little
I know
gymnast.
nothing, but yeah, she's great.
Very good little gymnast. I've even heard it from other coaches around the city that she's very good. I would say point blank, if you're looking at like professional athletics,
It's her dream.
it's her dream. But in professional athletics, there's no one way to get there. And there's no guarantee to get there. With the Olympics, with NFL, with even like D1 scholarships, worlds have to align.
Yeah.
But I think the overarching majority of kids who make it successful in gymnastics are the ones that love it. And I think the greatest gift my coach and my parents ever gave me in my sport that is very serious and it's very taxing and it's very terrifying and dangerous and all of that is they encouraged more than anything my elite level coach that I needed to be a kid.
Yeah.
So they would pull me from gymnastics some days to go to school dances or to play hooky and go shopping. And my mom and dad would tirelessly ask me every single day, are you sure you want to do this? Because like I miss my kid and I want her to be home instead of go to gymnastics. And every single day of my career, as annoying as it was that my coaches were like almost holding me back a little bit, it reminded me every day that it was my decision.
Yep.
And it motivated me even more to go back. And there were a couple times that I wanted to quit and I said it and I felt so free to be able to say that to my parents, my coach. And they never blinked. They're like, great, what are we doing next? And it was like, oh crap. Like, you're fine with this? And I would be gone from the gym 2 days and I go back. But just trying to
that
keep
makes
that
me
passion.
like you saying that makes me want to pat each other on the back because that is what we do. We
Good.
do let her miss it sometimes. We do not let her. She didn't go the one Thursday night that she had gymnastics because they had a poetry reading that night at the
Good.
school called Poetry Cafe. Coincidentally, her poem was called Gymnastics. Fantastic. But that is what we do. And we don't. And I ask her every day. There's days where she's like, I don't want to go. I don't feel good. I'm tired. I'm like, then we're not going to go today. Whatever you want. You want to watch a movie? Let's watch a movie and relax. Let's rest our body. So we definitely, it makes me feel good you saying that because that is what we do. And I think him playing in the NFL,
Well, say she also like comes home from school is like, I'm ready to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to go
she
now.
wants to
She'll
go.
get there an hour early because she wants to get there.
And so she has that drive, and however long it lasts, whether it's for the next 5 years, the next 15 years, like it's obviously in her control, which I think is super important for any kid to do any sports. Because what I worry about is the specialization now, like in sports. Like these kids are getting burnt out, and I'm someone who grew up in like multi-sports, like is the only way because you learn skills that transfer over. But like you get burnt out, like doing one sport, like gymnastics is a specialized sport, and like you put your heart and soul and you put hours into it, and you know, you just got to be smart with it. And obviously your family and the structure you had was super important to just allowing you to be in your own space and do that, as we're trying to create that for
Vivi. Yeah.
I do think the one thing that I always try to teach too, and that I've seen over the years, something to remember about gymnastics, is unlike track and field, swimming, these sports where like you're crossing a finish line to know if you're the best, gymnastics is subjective and it's all based on approval.
Yeah.
So remembering that at Viv's age, and all the girls that are going there, they're basically trying to earn approval of people. So what I've seen in the sport is you see these kids forget why they started because they're so desperate for a coach to be like, you're good. Because there's no way for them to know unless they get that good score or whatever. So putting it back on her every day and being like, are you sure this is for you?
Totally.
Is the most important.
Yeah, makes sense.
There ain't
Yeah.
a shadow of a doubt in that girl's mind. She's in it. I told you, she said 2032, she's going to Brisbane.
Perfect.
She's done.
Book your flights.
Tickets. You don't need tickets.
We'll get tickets.
You've already done it. They'll let you on.
Yeah.
What's next for you guys? What are you excited about? You can talk about Kittenish.
Well, next we're gonna pick the kids up from school in about 30 minutes.
Next.
No, what's next is we're continuing to grow Kittenish, and I just every day I pinch myself. Yesterday we put up this thing because it was International Women's Day, and our team put together all of our accomplishments. I was just like, damn, from an outsider looking in, I'm like, we really have done it, man. Like I never stop and smell the roses. I'm always like hustling and bustling every day and like, what can we do next and what's not working, what is working. And it was really nice for just a moment of peace to see it in front of me and think like, we really have done this. Like, I'm proud of us. This is not just some little fun hobby. This is a real business that we've created that is growing and having success, and I'm proud of it. And so I think for me, it is keeping Kittenish growing and going to that next level, which I believe is going to happen this year. And when I say next level, it's just what happens when your business gets big enough where you just take it to the next level.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? But so excited about that. And we have some other projects that we've got going on as well.
How old is Kittenish?
So I always had it as like a capsule partnership before for a few years. But I would say it truly became what it is in 2019 when I opened up the brick and mortar in Nashville. And as soon as, and I didn't have online anymore at that point. And so as soon as that took off, I mean, it exploded in the Gulch. It opened my eyes going, maybe we should put this back online. And so I bought, it was mine 100%. And I had bought it from these existing partners. And it wasn't really what it was then, but opened it in that September of 2019. And so Summit request in 2019.
For those coming to Nashville, go check out Kittenish in the
Well,
Gulch,
and-
right downtown.
How many other cities now?
So it's 4 total now.
That's awesome.
Crazy. Yeah. What about you,
E.
Well, I've been enjoying just honestly coaching the kids. Like that's been kind of like super fun for me just to be a part of soccer, football, basketball, baseball, and with that, obviously the Kittenish things, and we got some other projects that we're working on. Like she said, real estate is a passion of mine. I love real estate. Nashville's a good place to be living right now with real estate. And really, I think I'm kind of in like that chapter in my life where I'm just kind of learning different things and figuring out where my interest lies. I mean, I love like just getting out there and fooling around in the garden. Like I'm lucky enough to have that time to like learn about gardening and have the chickens and, you know, do the coaching with the kids and then explore, you know, with some people in the financial world. And if that's something I'm interested in. So kind of like this phase of learning right now in my life while, you know, being supportive of everything she's doing is where I'm at.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
I don't think shooting competitions is in your future, though.
Definitely not.
Did he
You
tell you?
have to come this year.
Did you?
To the
did he not
Special
tell you
Forces
that
shooting
I
competition.
dominated him in this Green Beret
Oh, yeah,
shooting
have to
competition.
come.
I wasn't invited.
You're invited.
You're invited now.
You are invited.
But listen, I think I was like 3rd or 4th place now. I'm not.
He did well.
Yeah, I wasn't at the bottom of the barrel.
I bombed.
Yeah.
I didn't come in last,
but
but
I won.
I mean, you won
Not that we're
Obviously.
keeping
by a stretch.
he's won 3 years in a row.
Dang.
No, I lost last year.
You got some
Yeah,
targets
even
out
I
back?
got dethroned. No. Anyway, I know you guys have to go pick up your kids, but let me say this: you said this is like your second podcast interview. You don't really get it. I really think that people listening will pull out little bits of wisdom and like.